I'll be reading 8 poems that were published by the Writing Disorder Best Poems of 2012 in this video, and 2 of them are autobiographical. But I'm not going to tell you which 2 they are until the end of the video. So I'd like you to think about which ones you think are reflective of my own experiences. And so, which ones do you think are telling you about me? And I'll tell you which ones they are at the end of the video. Now, this first poem has a visual component to it, so you'll want to be looking at the video while I am reading it. Skeletons. I keep mine in my closet, on hangers. Don't you? Curmudgeon. Stoop-shouldered and half-blind by cataracts, he sits in his rocking chair and bitches about everything, except politics. Mulberry tree. Oh, how I loathe the mulberry tree when summer brings its ripened fruit, which if I could, I'd love to eat, but sparrows love to eat them too. Oh, how I loathe the mulberry tree when summer sun entices shade, and I seek refuge at its knee, despite the havoc sparrows make. Oh, how I loathe the mulberry tree when summer rains are sparse and few, and washing cars infrequently can't cleanse them of what sparrows do after eating all those mulberries. Looming deadline. He hunches at his desk, beads of sweat oozing from his furrowed brow to form inky puddles on the mottled white desert before him. He clenches the pen in an iron grip that leaves his fingers numb, and gnaws on its cap as if it were a piece of cherry licorice. He grasps at fragments of thought, any fragment, tenderly herding them toward one another, corralling them beneath the harvest moon. The thoughts coalesce into words, and he ushers them out of confinement, bringing them to life, one at a time, and winnowing away the weaker ones. At length he sets the pen down and studies his masterpiece, nods to himself, carefully folds it up, and seals it in an envelope. He sighs. He looks at the revolver, picks it up. The handle is smooth. It fits his hand well. It's time to reap what he has sown. Sparky. Dad had given me $10 to go play pool, and I was thrilled. I love pool. It is cathartic. There's always room for improvement, room to grow, more to learn, more to know. It's never the same game twice. It was snowing that night, and the tiny flakes glistened in the porch light as they fell like salt shaken from the sky, white puffs of life, dancing, swirling, playing with the wind. When we first got Sparky, I was a boy, maybe 7 or 8 years old, and thought the new puppy was a toy, one that makes noise and bites. Sparky bit me the day my dad brought him home. He had hidden under my chair, and I bent over, trying to coax him out, but he must have been scared and bit me on the ear. His teeth were sharp. My hand was on the door handle when I saw him. He was lying in the snow, a blood trail fading into the shadows outside the range of the porch light. his chest rising and falling in sudden little bursts. I froze. We had lots of other dogs while I was growing up, but none of them were Sparky. He was our first terrier. He was special. He was smart. He was the kid brother I never had. "Dad," I said, my voice low, empty. "Come here." He didn't understand. He never did. He was always too busy to listen, to hear. He was more interested in watching TV. "Dad, come here," I calmly repeated. "What?" He was impatient. He didn't want to get up. I knew he wouldn't come, and I had to say what I didn't want to say. "Sparky's been shot." Sparky had been in a dogfight once, and had come home with a big gash on his side. I didn't know it, and when I saw him, I grabbed him right where he was wounded. He yelped, shrill, loud, the kind of sound you never want to hear twice. He found a corner and laid down, licking his wounds. For a few seconds, the TV chattered on, alone, and then Dad got up from his chair. I stepped aside to let him pass. Sparky wasn't dead yet. He had crawled home through the snow so he could die with us. Sparky was an icon in our little town. He ran free, and everyone knew him, except the guy who shot him. He had just moved into town. His dog was in heat. Sparky reacted. I didn't have to say much when I got to the bar. I missed a lot of shots that night. Thesis topic: Social dynamics in a hospital waiting room. The waiting room is such a lonely place. It's filled with sounds of patients wearing thin. Or should that be patience wearing thin? Chairs like concrete, too much time to waste, and people. Lots of people, all in haste to find out what is wrong with a loved one. The time creeps by, slowly by, and then a doctor enters with her eyes downcast. When she lifts them, there are tears, silent tears. A man in the corner rises from his seat and approaches her, hesitantly, to hear the words her eyes have already said. He collapses, clings to her knees, clings to his fears, while I take unobtrusive notes on grief. Do it! We should build 1,000,000 cars a day, just to let them run in idle gear. We should burn the forests right away. Burn them all, and bring our future here. Each of us should have a dozen brats, just because we humans love to live. Let's waste resources, just so we can ask, "O world of ours, have you no more to give?" And when she answers with a silent wail, or whimper hidden by a chilling wind, then we will see the road we've paved to hell, intending that our good life never end. Stalked. A heart of gold I do not hold for you. A dozen roses still remain unplucked. So many things I would not do for you, and still I can't believe my rotten luck. I've told you go away so many times, and changed the locks on every single door. Why can't you heed these words and blatant rhymes? There's nothing left between us anymore. So take this sonnet that I wrote for you and stuff it in a place that's always dark. That's all that's left for both of us to do, so let's not tarry long before we start." She left with droopy eyes and sorrowed face. "And now there's something missing at my place." So, which two do you think were autobiographical? Skeletons? No, I don't have a bunch of bones hanging in my closet. Curmudgeon? I'm obviously old enough to be a curmudgeon, but I bitch about politics too much to be the focus of that particular poem. Mulberry tree? Now, this one is autobiographical, but it's one of those pseudo-autobiographical poems. Because, well, we had Mulberry tree when I was growing up. I have one now. I've had to clean my car a few times, that kind of stuff. But it's more a synthesis of those experiences rather than a particular instance. So that's one of them. Looming deadline? Well, that depends on what you think is happening at the end of that poem. Because it's rather a morbid poem. And it leaves open the question of what the speaker in that poem is going to do with that revolver. Are they going to shoot themselves? Is that why it's a deadline? Or are they going to go on a shooting spree? Well, in either case, it's not me. It's not autobiographical. I don't have a revolver, I don't have a gun, and I wouldn't really want one anyway, because I'm a nonviolent pacifist. Sparky is. Everything that I wrote about in that poem happened. We did have a dog named Sparky. The only thing is, I'm not sure when we got it, so I might have been a little older, a little younger than I noted in this poem, but it did happen. And I had a lot of difficulty reading that poem, and I had to redo it several times because of that. Because it drew up those emotions. And I struggled with those. Because, yeah. Now, if you thought thesis topic, social dynamics in a hospital waiting room, was autobiographical, you're not that far off, because I have written two theses. One for my English degree, which was in creative writing, and it was called Morbidity, Poetry and Prose. And I'll have a playlist for the poetry that appeared in that thesis. The other one was for my sociology degree, and it was called Drug Use and Pool Performance, an Exploratory Study. Now, I wrote it about that because I was involved in playing pool a lot at the time. I was around a lot of pool players, so I had a lot of potential subjects, and there hasn't been a lot of research done on pool. So I originally thought of this as drug and alcohol use in competitive amateur pool, but that title kind of evolved as the project went along. So, yes, I've written theses before, but not that particular one. And the other one you might have thought about was Stalked. And that's not really something that has happened to me, or something that I've done to anybody else for that matter. But I can imagine what it would be like. So that one is not autobiographical. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, press the button for it and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your time.